Alright guys, so today on the ST we're going to be fitting this leather gear gaiter which we got from Redline Goods. It's supposed to be Italian leather and it's got like a blue stitching. I don't know if you can see that in the side. It should clasp the joint up a little bit when we're driving about. Apparently it's a bit of a pig to fit, so we'll see how we go. To help us with that, I've ordered this set of Auto trim removal tools, so hopefully I can remove all the trim without doing any damage to the interior. But I'm going to try and spread this job out a bit and take some time to make sure it gets done properly, because you've got to remove all the plastic trim around the gear around the gear stick, and also around all the air conditioning controls. So we'll see how we get on. So the first thing we've got to do is start knocking out these clips which are here and here. We're now going to move up. There's two clips here and here. There's supposed to be a couple around the switches, and there's some here and some here. So we're going to try and pry them up as best as we can with our hands. And so I'm going to do this off camera because it might be fiddly, and we'll check back once I've freed up these next ones. Again, they're here, 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 and then on the switches. Okay.
So wait, I have a question.
What's your question?
Why aren't you using a hammer? Okay, sorry.
Okay, I was having some problems, and I realised that this section of the trim here has to come with it as well. And once I pulled that away, the rest of it's kind of pulled out pretty easily. There's a couple of electrical connections on the back here and here for the two switches, and you just unhook those, and then this whole section comes out. So now we should just be able to lift this out, which is great. So we unscrew the gear knob, which is very tight the first time. This is very stiff, so I'm gonna, there it goes.
Get on.
There you go. Yeah, so if it's stiff, it's okay. And under here there's a spring, so we're going to be careful of that. This whole section we can lift away.
Wow.
There we go. So this part here is going to be the tricky bit, which is the reverse lockout. And you've got to kind of look at how it goes together when you take it out. You see there's more plastic on the driver's side. And what we've got to do now is turn this inside out and push into some screwdrivers into the in between here, so we can separate this shiny plastic bit or metal bit from the black plastic on the inside. So I'm now going to do that away from the car after I had a chance to look at the instructions a little bit more and see how we get on, because apparently this is the tricky bit. It doesn't look like you need to pry it very far, just a little, but it's kind of difficult to do that when you're trying to do both sides at the same time. So I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to see if I can lever these two out. I'm going to get some assistance, but you've got like a little rim, like ridge to get it over, so we'll try that. You may need a smaller screwdriver. Well, I've got the lockout off. What I ended up having to do is use very, very, very small screwdrivers and just ease it up enough and do one clip at a time. So now we should be able to remove this completely, and it's undamaged, which is great, which means now we can take this off, put the new one on, and yeah, it's going pretty well. So the next step now is to take the new boot and start installing the reverse lockout. So I've put in the silver bit, just set it on top, and you've got to add the reverse lockout to the underside. So it says you have it in here with the longer part facing forward as if it was in the car. You turn it inside out like so, as we did before, and we've got to slip the lockout in. And also you've got to make sure you do it the right way round, because we don't have to take it off again. And this extending bit here needs to go towards the driver, so that when we go to install this, it says you'll know if you've done it wrong, because the rear lockout won't go. So it can only go on one of two ways. Let's hope we've got it round the right way. So I'll finish this off camera and see where we are. Okay, so now that's back in there, we should be able to move on to do the bottom. The first thing we've got to do is to take the old shift boot and remove these staples so we can get this plastic retaining bezel out from underneath. So we're going to use, you know, a combination of needle nose pliers and screwdrivers to free this up. And then we'll be able to move on to mounting the bezel to the bottom of the new one. Okay, so now I have unpicked all of the staples under here, so I should be able to start prying the bezel away from the old boot. And I'm going to go back to my tiny screwdriver for that. It's yeah, it's coming. It's going to take a bit of time, but that's the first one out, and I'm going to keep going around and just levering these off, and they should all now come off. I would say quite easily, but everything's very stiff. Okay, so that's the last staple removed, so we can now take that off. And now we're going to attempt to fit the new one. So we spent a bit of time trying to figure out how we were going to get the staples in here. Always messing around, we're trying to find the holes because there aren't any holes actually in the leather for the staples. What we ended up doing was just using a staple gun like this, and that just made new holes. So I'm just going to bring those down with a pair of pliers and then move on to the next one. But that's what we're going to do, so that should get it on there. And I've got a clamp to just keep it all in the same spot. But it looks like this is what's going to work. So I'll do another little bit when I finish that bit. So we've got like the first 4 staples in, so it's starting to come together. Where the plastic's thin enough here, it'll just go through. So, and it's reasonably tidy on the top, although you won't be able to see that. So just push them through and then just bend them over, and it's coming together quite nicely. So I've got another 6 staples to go, and then it'll be ready. Okay, so we're back in the car now. Now we've got everything, all the staples in. It's time to start putting things back together. So I've just put the Gaiter back into position. What I found was it was easier to turn the Gaiter inside out and then get the reverse lockout into position. Otherwise the leather kind of gets caught up, and at this point you realize whether you've got it on the right way round or not, because you won't, whether or not it goes back into position. And you can, you can test it. As you can see, just it goes across this far until you lift this up, and then it can go the rest of the way over. Move it down, it hits the thing there, so that's good. So we'll be able to put this all back together. So the next thing is going to be to start putting the trim panel back into position. It should just all clip kind of back in, kind of the same way it came out. So we'll put that in and see how it looks. So now it's for the panel back into position. Don't forget to plug your wires in that go in the back here and here, otherwise your heated seats won't work. And then you just got to screw your gear knob back on. And obviously, don't forget to make sure you put your spring back in there, otherwise your lockout's not going to work for reverse. But here it is with its nice blue piping, and as you can see, that's over as far as it goes. So first and second, lift up the collar, and there's reverse. Yeah, I think that adds a real nice touch. So the next thing is going to be adding the same onto the armrest. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for another video sometime soon.